Good morning. Have you ever heard people tell you you're not supposed to shoot like that, you can't compose like this, you can't edit like this? Well, when I was beginning, I heard that a lot and I still hear it every day. That's why today I want to break 3 photography myths together that we may be carrying unconsciously, but once we let them go, we are able to express ourselves creatively, freely, and enjoy the process. Make sure you watch until the end because I'm gonna be sharing with you specific on the field examples, and I'm gonna show you a technique that is exactly the contrary of what you may be thinking when we're talking slow shutter speed. So if you're ready, let's get started. These are some of the photos that I took recently that are breaking some photography myths, and I want to share with you those 3 myths because they're gonna help you progress in your photography. So the first one, let's get right into it. The first one is thinking that blurry is bad, thinking that you're supposed to have sharp shots. That is utterly untrue for several reasons. The first one is that having a shot that is a little blurry gives you a different feeling than a photo that is completely sharp. Let me explain. First example, in the streets of Japan, I'm just trying to get the ambience and I don't really care about having people sharp, so I'm using a slower shutter speed that will get them a little blurry, but not enough to completely disappear, but fast enough so that they're just blurry. In that case, that motion blur adds movement into the image. So when you're looking at it, you actually feel that there is movement. It's the same I did in the metro of New York City, and also that my friend Emmett, who is an incredible photographer, has been using in this photo right now, where you can see the girl running on that road and there's so much motion in that photo, right? But if you had taken that photo tuck sharp and having the subject frozen, that would have completely not worked. So you need to step away from that idea that every shot needs to be sharp. And on top of that, having shots with just bokeh or focus on the foreground element and leaving everything in the background like I did on this photo at night gives you a feeling of the place, and if you match that with other photos, it can really create an atmosphere that you wouldn't be able to give if you had every shot perfectly technically sharp. So remember that out of focus and blurry elements will add life into your photos in a very specific moods, so don't shy away from it. Let's get to myth number 2, but in case you don't know me, my name is Pierre Lambert. I wanted to introduce myself. I create tutorials, photography adventures for this YouTube channel. If you like that, subscribe, leave it a big thumbs up, and know that all the photos you see in this video have been edited with my Lightroom presets that are available for you to use also with the link in the description. It's a real time saver to edit and express yourself creatively. Now, with that being said, myth number 2 is that it needs to be visually interesting. I was recently on a beach in Thailand, a local beach. I'm gonna get those postcard photos, gonna be great, but look at what happened when I arrived. I'm like, oh, this doesn't look at all what I had expected. Visually, it's not really striking. There's too many umbrellas, so I'm wondering, how can I work with that scene? And instead of focusing on that visual postcard element of like the palm tree, maybe the beach umbrella and the ocean, I completely shifted focus and went into more of a storytelling approach. So on the field, there's 2 things I kind of focused on. The first one was getting the wide shot with the umbrellas, okay, and you can't see too much details that's on the floor unless you zoom in. And the second one was actually to get closer to that pollution, the trash that was around, and focus on that and keeping people blurry in the background or having a f-stop high enough, meaning with a lot of depth of field so that you can kind of see both and what's happening. And it was that contrast of having someone go on a photo shoot with his girlfriend trying to get the palm trees and that like really paradise island kind of vibe, and having the trash literally floating around in the background, and the same with kids playing. And personally, it was a little bit heartbreaking to see everything that's laying around, but it's a reminder of our human activity and the impact it has. Myth number 3, you need to control your scenes. And that one can cause a lot of frustration because if you're walking around and if you're interacting with everyday life, life is not how you want it to be. It is how it is, and there's nothing you can do to change that. So instead of focusing on what you should remove in post-production in your images or on the field, or when you should come back, or when you should get rid of things and organize a very specific photo shoot, how about you work with all the elements that are surrounding you that can help you create a frame that is a little bit cleaner, visually more appealing. Let me explain. 2 examples. The first one, Thailand, I'm getting to this weird area with this super chaotic in Bangkok, and there's lights everywhere. It's kind of visually cool with all the lights, but it's chaotic. If I take a sharp photo here, there's so much information, it's not that interesting. So I shifted that and started playing with slow shutter speeds. Why? Because those would allow me to get rid of a lot of the people in the background, the tourists, etc., and focus on just one element. For example, a tuk-tuk passing by or a person on a scooter. And that was extremely helpful to really not clean up the environment, but just absorb in my camera what I want and get rid of everything else. And another example is in Tokyo, there's this Thai restaurant that says Bangkok Night around Shibuya, and it's a famous spot for photography, but depending on the angle you have a lot of the street and the staircase in there, and you have the bottom part of the restaurant. And while that may be cool, I personally was not looking really to get that. So I started looking around and I saw that there was a rail for the staircase, and that rail, when you're looking very close to it, is a little bit reflective. So I literally went and stuck my camera right against that rail and started taking photos like this in order to get a little bit of that reflection on the rail and get rid completely of the restaurant that's at the bottom. So that's another technique that allows you not to modify your environment, but simply move around and use what is present in order to create a photo that is more visually impactful for you. And I gotta say, if you want to take it a notch further, you can use one of my, for example, a broken filter or something to add effects and really remove parts of the distraction that you may feel there is in your scene right now. And remember, you can't change the chaos, but you can change how you're gonna use it. Now I promised you a bonus, and this is me literally doing it in a metro. Look at this. Instead of thinking of a panning as you taking a photo of a moving object, be the moving object and take a photo of something that is static while doing the same motion in order to track it. This gives you a different feel, a different kind of image, and you're able to have a person that is not moving sharp or that is moving slowly while you're in motion. And in my opinion, this is one of those little creative ideas that can unlock things and really make a session a lot more fun. And for that, shutter speeds around 1/10 of a second or 1/20th, depending on your speed, will be great. Remember, photography is art, so let go of what you're supposed to do, what people are telling you should be doing, and create in a way that makes you feel something. Now, next time you go on the field, grab my photography cheat sheet with my most used camera settings and some tips that will help you. And if you're really curious about sharp photos, watch this video. And if you want to see me in full immersion on the field shooting, watch this one. And now remember, get out there, go shoot, try something different, try something new. I'll see you in the next one.